All right, well, let's get into our discussion for this morning. We're starting off with a conversation on a recent video which has surfaced online where we see the president in a meeting with some traditional leaders from Ekumfi, where he reveals that he has neglected the people of Ekumfi because they did not vote for his party man, Ato Cudjo, during the 2020 elections. Now, since this video came out, it has received a lot of reactions from Ghanaians across the political divide. If you haven't seen the video, let's take a look at it, and then when we come back, we'll talk about it.
Ato Cudjo. No, yeah, MP. The man be a minister, or be a deputy minister. They need to. So when you say Namson, so also be say BB, amamo, Ekumfi. Actually, election for buy a year no free hall. Then you know can be like a cram to academy, Miss Me, Menika Crass of Films. Man can cry name. Yes, so mobile, Matilda Mokan.
All right, so that's the video which came out about 2 days ago. And if you don't understand Chi, the president said that he is aware that he has taken his eyes off Ekumfi for some time now. And it's because his party man, Ato Cudjo, who he had made deputy minister, was voted out of parliament in 2020. After this video came out, we have all wondered what the president meant by that. And Eric is here, so perhaps he can tell us. What did the president mean by that statement in the video we just watched?
Well, I mean, I think that you played, to start with, good morning to you, good morning to my seniors here. To be honest with you, I think that you played a very short video. And sometimes when we have these conversations, it's about context. You know what I'm saying? So, President was in a, if you like, a chatty, conversational mode with these traditional leaders.
It looks like a very formal meeting.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But it's a conversation.
Okay.
You know, that's what I'm saying. And he made a point that at a point there was a deputy minister there who he felt was going to champion the development and all of those things and all that. But for me, I think that we're flogging sometimes some of these things. Because, I mean, when it comes to public office and things that people say, I mean, I can pull out thousands, a plethora of examples of what public officers will say, past presidents and all of those things. I mean, in these conversational moods. And the conversation, for me, I think that should have even gone beyond, okay, even after what the president said, right? Can we do a proper deep dive to understand what has been the development that has gone on in Ekumfi to start with, right? And say that, well, what people are terming that neglect or whatever actually is the case. But for me, I didn't see that. All that I saw was that it's an attempt to probably sensationalize the conversation and make it look like the president was making a point on the fact that Ato Cudjo was not voted for.
That's what he said.
Yeah, no, but that's not, because that's what I'm saying, that you have to contextualize this whole conversation around why the traditional authorities were there to start with. And if you take a video that is less than a minute in that regard, and you put it out there, yes, you can get the if you like, the negative traction or the propaganda that you seek to achieve. But in a broader sense, it doesn't mean that the president, of course, the president has actually accepted and acknowledged that it's important that he met the traditional authorities from Ekumfi. So it's not as if that he made an off-the-cuff statement somewhere and the authorities actually were, traditional authorities was not there, right? So this is somebody who's actually accepted and agreed and is actually sitting around a table and having a conversation with people, because that is part of his job, that is part of his remit, to ensure and also understand and appreciate where the issues are coming from and finding solutions to them. So yes, you can say that there's some kind of political propaganda value in this thing. But as far as I'm concerned, I think that we're overflogging this. We've been lived in this country where somebody has gone somewhere and said that even if the streets of Kumasi is paved with gold, they will not appreciate it. We've had all of these things in the past, you know. So sometimes I feel that, especially on a platform like this morning, there are other things that we can be discussing. There are
You're
something that we should be talking about. That's why I'm saying that when it comes to public office and people in public, you talk all the time. You can say stuff. You can actually feel that you are in a very, if you like, cordial environment, and you're having conversations with people and all that. But the mood of the president and his demeanor and everything does not show an individual that is not concerned about the development of Ekumfi for political purposes, because he's actually sitting around the table having a conversation with them. I think they've extended a request to meet him, or he's actually invited them for a discussion, either as development or social or whatever it is, and he's having a conversation with them, right? You can have challenges with how he said it, but the reality on the ground is that it doesn't point to someone that is untowardly, or negatively trying to punish the people of Ekumfi because Ato Cudjo was not voted for. And I feel that sometimes there's too much reliance on the propaganda effect. You understand what I'm saying? Because I can pull out so many things that public officials have said in this last Republic. Right? So, but there's nothing wrong with you having an issue with it. But I'm saying that
I'm asking questions. I'm not declaring
bringing
my
it
position.
to like the front burner and making it such a huge important conversation. To invite some of us to be having that. For me, I feel that is
development in this country. In all regions and all constituencies is important.
I appreciate, yes.
When the president makes a comment about development in an area, it's important.
Of course.
When he's aware that he's in a formal meeting with traditional leaders, where there are cameras where he's being recorded, every statement he makes can be taken to mean that he's serious and not having, did you say casual conversation?
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So here's the point. This is not the first time the president has made a comment about a specific area and their political choices and help for the area. When he went to Mepe after the Akosombo Dam spillage, he made another comment, a comment that suggested that, well, if it was about political
but so is it the case that because you're a public official,
then perhaps
you're unable to make...
Here. No, when you were talking, I allowed you to talk, so please let me land. So if you say that we shouldn't take it out of context, or we shouldn't consider this some kind of political propaganda or whatever it is you were saying, then it makes us wonder at which point we can take the president seriously and at which point we should consider whatever he says, I don't know, a casual conversation you said. He made a specific comment that I believe that means that I have neglected Ekumfi. Because
that is your interpretation.
Is that the meaning? What does it mean?
No, but that's your interpretation. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
What does it mean?
That's what I'm saying. You see,
that's why my first question was, what does it mean? What did the president mean?
You have to contextualize this conversation.
Give us the context.
Okay. So we have a constitution. Our constitution actually says that you have to have a certain, if you like, regional balance and whatever when it comes to appointment of ministers and state of, and all of those things, because the president is one individual. He can't be in every place at the same time. You understand? So these persons that are in these either districts or regions that are represented become essentially the agents of change and development. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm saying that you can, if you nitpick, if you want to go deep into this, you can find all sort of problems with what the president had said. But I'm saying that in the broader sense, in terms of why the people were there, and if it's real and truly that the president is committed to the development of people in Ekumfi, it doesn't speak to what the propaganda is being made to be. That's my view on it. Okay. And now, if you want to even now go into Mepe, again, it's almost as if that in this country, you can't, by virtue of the fact that your president doesn't mean that the president was there, was making a statement, and maybe, you can still have issues with how he said it, but you can look at the demeanor and the temperament of the person in terms of how he was saying it, and deduce from, because he was actually at the place of the disaster and having conversations with people, and it's like, it has nothing to do with your political choices. I'm here as the first gentleman of the land, the president of this country, to do what is required to make sure that you guys get out of this challenge that you are facing. I don't really, and that's why I'm saying that once we do that, and I am a political animal, I'll say that, okay, fair enough, President has said something that you're unhappy about, but I can give you an example. That's why I gave you the John Mahama example when he went to Kumasi and said that you can pay.
Of gold.
You understand what I'm saying? And so, I mean, that's what I'm saying. But that is not even important. Because as far as the ordinary Ghanaian is concerned, their focus is on the germane bread and butter issues that we as politicians should be discussing, not comments and statements that have been made. That does not even, if we were very fair to the president, we would have played a 5-minute, 6-minute, 10-minute video in the conversation and how that even ensued. Mm-hmm. But if you take that snippet and then you make it like a topic for discussion, that is what you would get. But as far as I'm concerned, that is really not the case. Look at when you go to Ekumfi, top of mind. Even me as an individual, in terms of certain interventions, I supported some of these farmers that were doing this pineapple production up to over 3-4 million.
You supported?
Oh, but I'm saying that by intervention. You understand? 3-4 million pineapple sackets for production. Right? Does it point to a government that is not concerned and doesn't care?
You did this as an individual?
No, but as a public official.
Okay.
But I intervened when they were building the factory to support the production of pineapple for the Ekumfi juice factory. So that's what I'm saying, that as far as I'm concerned, yes, it's political season. You can pick certain things and try to project it, but this will not stick.
It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal, as far as I'm concerned.
It's not a big deal. All right, so Kwame Jantua.
Good morning to our viewers. And good morning to your good selves. When we played the video, did we hear the last bit that the president said?
Okay.
After he said what he said.
Yes.
He
But
said,
now that you have brought it to my attention, I will.
He said, "No crow can a year. This truth, you speak the truth, is good." So what did he mean? What did he mean by that? And by the way, the traditional leaders who went there, what did they go there for? Did they go there to talk politics? Did they go there to complain to him about MPs in the area? They went there to talk to him about former President Atta Mills, his autopsy. Wasn't that the reason why they went there? How did this come in? How did this politics bit come in? And you are right. As a president, you should be guarded what you say. Because anything you say, they will jump on it. Anything you say, it will be jumped on, especially in a political season like this. So, as far as I'm concerned, it was unwarranted. It wasn't something you should have said. Sometimes the president says things, he's joking. Like the one example you just gave. Oh, you don't vote for me, that I'm supposed to be. What has that got to do with the price of milk? Huh? Anything he says, we will jump on it. If he says R and we feel that R isn't good, we'll jump on it. And this is the challenge he gives to his commentators and those who are communicating for the MPP. It's as if the president is holier than thou. He can make no mistake. If this shoe was on the other foot, and it so happened that another president was empowered, he made this, they in opposition will jump on it. We've got to get to a stage where if the president says something that is wrong, the fact that he's in my party or as my leader doesn't mean I can't criticize him.
But people have even said words. People have said
dead
goats,
Eric.
dead goats and everything. We allow that to pass.
Allow him to speak.
What's the difference? I mean,
when
if you want to
speaking,
compare dead goats to what the president said, which one do you think is actually much better? I mean, that's what I'm saying. That you can push this narrative.
Can you not speak while he's speaking?
This is why I'm saying I'm sorry.
Yes, thank you.
Eric, you see how he's beating around the bush and dancing around the fire. Tell the president, Mr. President, what you said wasn't right. You're the president for the whole country. You're the president for every Ghanaian. And the constitution says projects should be what? Should be shared within the country. And you can tell us. as president, me many free so
Kakra.
what does that mean?
As if Kakra is good.
So go to his own stronghold of Ashanti and go and see what the Ashantis are saying about the president and his projects in Ashanti, whether they are happy. And if he can deny his own stronghold projects, Ekumfi, who are you? And he said it. It is inside him, and he's had the chance to say it. For me, it shouldn't have come out at all. That wasn't the reason why they went there. They went there for a specific reason. Deal with that specific reason, and that's it. Even if it's in your head. Just it's been in your mind for a long time. But anyway, who said, where politics is concerned, an opposition party can't win an election in terms of even parliamentary? Your man who was there obviously didn't work well. The people that didn't feel he was the right person there, they took him off and brought somebody new in. Simple. What's the challenge? So now, projects are shared according to what? People who win elections for you? Is that what it is? Look, once we finish the politicking, elections and all that, it's nation building. It's not politics anymore. It's nation building. So, if the president is trying to tell us that, he went all around everybody and left Ekumfi where it is. And remember, Central region, is it not a swing region? Be very careful what you say. Very, very careful what you say. For me, he goofed. He goofed. And please, Mr. President, don't keep goofing again. You're not coming back. Rather, leave a healthy legacy that we can all clap for you in this short time you've got left. And don't begin to make trouble for those who want to be presidents from your party and who want to be parliamentarians from your party. Just do what you have to do, leave a legacy, and bow out gracefully. One thing he should say, and if I can get the chance and he's listening, please, Mr. President, if you still want to do National Cathedral, I beg you, move it to Ghana 70. Move it to Ghana at 70. Should we not start planning for Ghana 70? And don't you think, if the president is still gung-ho about National Cathedral, it would bring more people in? It would be some kind of monument to celebrate Ghana's 70th birthday. It would be a good thing, wouldn't it? A good symbol. Ghana was 70, and what did they use to open their 70th birthday? They built a cathedral for the Lord. If he still wants to do it, I don't think he should, but if he still wants to do it, move it at 70 and bring others on and open up and be transparent about it. Simple.
All right, Mr. Maliba.
So let me say good morning to your viewers. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So who are you, Eric, to come and sit here and pontificate that the president didn't mean what he said?
It was a light-hearted conversation with some
So
traditional leaders after
the president meant what
an
he
official
said.
conversation.
The president thought of it. The president was meticulous. The president wanted to send that message out to the people of Ekumfi, and he succeeded. Now, the president doesn't deserve criticisms like we are doing. This president deserves prayers. We must pray for this president. You have said that this is not the first time. When he did it in Mape, he was bashed. Would a normal human being, having been bashed that way, repeat what he has said again? So he needs prayers. Has he breached his oath of office? The answer is yes. And I'm going to give you part of presidential oath that he took. I dedicate myself to the service and well-being of the people of the Republic of Ghana and to do right to all manner of persons. Would the people of Ekumfi say he has done right to them? Hasn't he breached this oath? The directive principle of state policy stipulates that the president should ensure even and balanced development. Has he not breached this one too? So now, this president does not need criticisms again. He needs prayers. Why? The people of Ekumfi, don't they pay taxes? So even if you lost a candidate there, if you lost an MP there, have you stopped taking taxes from them? And when I say that the president's problem is his upbringing, people say, why do I say that?
Why do you say that?
Because even computers have don't computers have UPS? They say a process. Is it a process? Yeah, that's a processor. Yes. Now, the thoughts in me about you this morning, sitting and watching you, I dare not say them. I have to process it.
And for you, your process is your mind, isn't it?
So, Mr. President, do you process what you want to say before you say them?
What did Cookie say on her video? What did she say? What did she say?
I can't.
I can't.
I don't get it.
I can't get it. I don't get it.
You see how you've made her
I
quiet.
don't get it.
I am saying.
Don't get it.
I am saying that we have. That's what God gave us the
Mr.
mind
President.
to process what we want to say. Adia meka efata. And as president, should I say them? This president doesn't know that. And that's why I say it's the upbringing. Apart from that, this president, and I've said it again, has a kingship mentality. He thinks that he's ruling, he's a monarch. He sees himself as a monarch. So he doesn't play to the democratic rules. It is not him. How on earth can you, president in a democratic country, think that every part of the country should vote for you? Where is this? Where is that illusion coming from?
It's not an illusion. Should I tell you what it is? Mm-hmm. Look, the UP tradition felt Ghana was snatched from them by Nkrumah. And if
No, but
Akufo-
we are delving this conversation. We are going into.
Wait, not going into anything.
I'm
not going into
Let me take my
anything.
time. Let me take my time.
I'm not going into
No,
anything.
so now you deduct it from my time.
Okay.
And they
You've made your
point. They have gotten it back, so they can do anything with us.
not true.
We
Yeah,
are subject to
I
them.
have also heard about that slant where we are being told that they are the owners of the country. And so, yeah,
GMI.
So, because of this mentality, when he sits at the Flagstaff House, he thinks he's a monarch, not a democratic player. And you see, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has, all these years, felt that it is his birthright to become president. And now that he has attained it, this is how he speaks. Now, look, let me say this. The presidency does not change your character. It doesn't remold you. The presidency would expose your bad conduct, your bad behavior. That's what the presidency does to you. Because now, as president, if your upbringing is bad, you transfer it to the presidency. It won't change you. So, what we are seeing about this president is nothing new. He told the people of Kumasi, when they were complaining about roads, and the host told him that the people of Kumasi, they were going to vote against him. And so they should go and stamp for the NDC. You don't speak that way. Look at the way he spoke to the Aflao chief. You don't speak that way. So I think that there's a basic problem with the president's upbringing together with his kingship mentality, and that's why we are seeing what we are seeing. So he needs prayers, not condemnation. He needs prayers.
Eric, what do you think? You said that this was a light-hearted conversation or a light-hearted comment. Let's assume this is true, that he was just making a light-hearted comment. As a communications person, what do you think generally about these comments that the president makes? This is not the first or second or third. Now, you said it's light-hearted, but we are in a country where, for example, the people of Ekumfi expect developmental projects to take place in their constituency. And then the president makes this comment. And then the other places he's been where people had expectations, and he made these comments which you say are light-hearted. Do you think, as a communications person, these sorts of light-hearted commentaries are proper from the president?
But that's what I said that. I mean, there's nothing wrong when people get rubbed off the wrong way based on what anybody has said, including the president, right? But you then have to now use people like yourself to be objective about analyzing exactly what he said within the context that he said it, right? And that's why I'm saying that. And this whole enterprise of politics, you know, there's how expedient it is for Maliba, for example, to ignore the fact that at a point in this country, John Mahama said that he became a dead goat. And what was he complaining about? Why was he saying there was a dead goat? He was saying a dead goat because people were clamoring for development. They were actually asking that he does ABC, and he felt that he was being put under pressure and that he wasn't going to kowtow to those pressures and that he was a dead goat. That's what I'm saying. And they're still bringing John Mahama as their flag bearer to run for president again, aren't they? But you can do the politics. I don't have a challenge with people having issues with what the president has said or what anybody has said in a political or democratic conversation. But let's contextualize it. Let's make sure that it is not overflowed. It doesn't become front and center in terms of our discussions. Because all that it does is just propaganda value that has political whatever for certain individuals. It's expediency. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, this whole conversation around what he has said in different places and all of these things are also things that, as far as I'm concerned, so you're trying to put all of these things together to paint a certain picture. Now, we see on a platform like that, for someone like a Maliba to actually question the upbringing of the president of this country, and nobody's even shocked about that. You understand? I mean, how do you even equate what he says to an upbringing? And then, of course, my senior to now is bringing in all these ideological conversations, and we cannot stop. You understand? Because once we start this whole conversation around the UP tradition and Nkrumahs and everything, there's also, I mean, I'm a student of history. You all know what happened in this country, right? So you can't pick and choose certain aspects of our history and make it look like a certain group of people are supposed to be evil, and then you use the word pontificate. Right? I can give you a number of examples of what happened in this country under the watch of Kwame Nkrumah, persecuting Ghanaian people, Ghanaian citizens. When J.B. Duncan was thrown into jail.
We are not going to history.
No, but I want to say it because you see, sometimes it's important.
Was invited.
Yeah, it was invited.
It was invited.
When you have an Akan royal that has been thrown into jail, and you have something called the PDA, and it says that when the person dies, you should bury them within 24 hours. J.B. Duncan's body was thrown out of Sawan prison on the floor like that, under Nkrumah. And you think that people from that stock and people who align with that stock will not be affected by the things that you did. Those excesses. So you are using, you are now justifying.
You're trying to tell me that Nkrumah didn't defend himself.
No, but you're now justifying. No, but you're now
You're not justifying. You can come in after he's done.
You understand? I'm not sitting here for you to bamboozle and then create a certain history for yourself.
I'm not creating.
Right. So this country has gone through. We have gone through a process, and I feel that at this point there has to be. By this time, we should have gone through that healing process. But people cannot pick and choose and create certain, it was like angelic profiles and personalities around themselves and make it look like certain people are evil. We've sat in this country, even under Jerry Rawlings, and they created the so-called revolution and killed people. People's mothers gone missing. They were raping people on the street under a so-called revolution. That is their tradition. You understand? So for me, I feel that we've gotten to the stage where if we really are interested in the development of this country, we all have to accept that in times past, there's been certain excesses, but nobody on this platform can claim to be a saint when it comes to the political history of this country. And I think that we need to make that point, especially for the young people, so that we can't go into a situation where, so for political gains and expediency, people make such statements, we allow them to get away with it. Thank you.
All right, let me read some messages and I'll come to you, Kwame Jantua. Mr. Abattoir in Awesi, all right, says, now people are surprised by how the president talks in public, but I am not. And that's because it's his nature. I always blame his handlers because they should guide him and make sure he speaks differently from his wife, his children, party people, and that of chiefs, imams, clergymen, as well as the general public, because that utterance was just not. Good morning. Now, the president's utterances are becoming one too many. In Mepe, now Ekumfi, and he is just refusing to be a father to all. Okay, there's some comments on the Black Stars. We've moved on from that conversation. Good morning now. Please tell the gentlemen to calm down. When I see some of them in the studio, I like to hear everything they say because they are wise men. All right. Mr. Janswa.
When Kwame Nkrumah bombs were being thrown at him, what did his party say? Did they even condemn it?
Yeah, but that's...
Did they,
okay.
when you were talking, I kept quiet. Did they even condemn it? Do you know what killed Nkrumah in the end? The palace of Kulungugu that they couldn't take out of his body, that turned cancerous. That's what killed him. Were they not part and parcel of those bombs? Come on. And you think he didn't have the right to protect himself as president? What are we talking about? Please. When President Akufo-Addo talked to was it the Aflawo chief? Eh?
Yes.
Wasn't it there his daughter was speaking on the phone? Wasn't it like that?
It was
one?
a different...
It was a different one.
Yes.
When his daughter was speaking on the phone, in his presence, what did he say? When the national anthem was being played, and when the national anthem is played, we all need to stand to attention. And his daughter was speaking on the phone. He saw it. What did he say? Did he say, hey, stop it? Did he? So what are we talking about? He does things that suits him. And he feels he has the right to say the things he said. But it was wrong, Mr. President. All those comments that you make that are unwarranted, stop it. It's not helping your party. Stop it. And it's the people who put you there. You didn't get there by yourself. The people who put you there. When President Akufo-Addo came in 2017, a lot of people had hope. A lot of people. Look at the gap. 1 million votes. And you're not coming to tell us what? After 8 years, can we say President Akufo-Addo has been able to achieve what he told us he would achieve in 2017? Can we say it? So Eric, stop that. You should be able to criticize your president if he does wrong. You should be able to give him praise if he does right. Please, let's stop it.
Mr. Maliba.
You see, Muhammad's dead goat comment was about overruns of expenditure. People demanding for increases in salaries, overrun of expenditure.
But
So let me talk. So if you don't provide budget for it, you can't overrun it. So
you have no problem with that comment?
I'm saying that that comment was not to deny people development.
Okay.
That comment was not to deny people development.
Okay, I'm asking
Indeed,
you
in
if
the
you had no
Ashanti
problem
one,
with that comment.
In the Ashanti one, where he said it was actually developments were rolled out in Ashanti. So it was not to deny the Ashanti people development. So that put it in that context. Now, you see, President Akufo-Addo is not what he is. So he is not what he is.
His what?
He is not what he is.
What does that mean?
What it means is that the things he say are not the things he does. The example of the daughter, Akufo-Addo could see a chief far away from where he was sitting for not standing up to respect the national anthem. But Akufo-Addo couldn't see his daughter disrespecting the national anthem close to him. He is not what he is. So if you had seen him in the video concerning the chief that he was reprimanding, you think that what this? An upright president. But when it came to his daughter, he fell flat. He couldn't. So he's not what he is. Now, should we be worried about the president's comments? I say no. Because this president is suffering from what I call verbal diarrhea. So it won't happen. He won't stop. Thank God for you, me, and even some people in MPP. He has less than 1 year to go. What can we do? Let's manage him. Let's take the pill. Let's ensure that we are not affected. But for him to stop, I can assure you, you call me if I'm not on your program. He's going to do another one. So this president is incurable when it comes to running his mouth the way he's doing it.
I'll read some more messages coming in. Now, in my view, I think the president's comments regarding this was in bad taste, with all due respect to him. I have said this before, when the president is contesting for upcoming elections, it sometimes creates difficulties for other flag bearers' chances. It looks like some of his remarks in recent times paint the picture that he has had his time. So whether the NPP wins the next elections or not, he doesn't have a problem. This is why I think the president could have remained silent on why he ignored the Ekumfi project. Point number one, the constituency is in the central region, and against all odds, that region gave you 2 victories to help you win your first and second terms. And then in brackets, you won the central region in both 2016 and 2020 elections. So even if one of their constituencies vote against your parliamentary candidate, you could still show your appreciation in the speech, bearing in mind that you cannot win all constituencies in the country to become president. Point number 2, the resources of the country is for the people. The president holds it in trust for the country. So he ought not have spoken as if the development resources are for him and for his constituency and for constituencies who vote for him. He would neglect developments in those that do not vote. Certain remarks need not to be made at all, and definitely not in public by the president. And that's from Guy G, sending in his message from Cantonment. You can also send in your messages with the hashtag TV3 New Day on Twitter, and I'll read them as we go. I think we can move on to our...
Sampiali also sent me something.
You have a message you want to read? Okay.
Yes. Sampiali, Honorable Sampiali, then he says, first of all, the president allowing the so-called Ekumfi delegation was wrong.
Allowing?
Yes, was wrong. Request for the autopsy report for his own wife and his office clerk. What about Kweku Aidehu's daughter? The president is a vindictive person who violates his constitutional responsibilities. Indeed, it's not a private message.
It's been sent to you.
It is within. It is within.
It's okay.
Indeed. Since the defeat of Ato Cudjo, the MPP has not done even a quarter in Ekumfi. Fire Eric for that silly equalization. Mahama did not ever say that. Even if he builds golden roads in Ashanti, he knows they won't vote for him.
All right. Do you want to respond to that?
No, but you see, the point is that, I think that you have a structure for this program, right? And for me, I can also take my phone.
Yes,
I actually have to
start reading. No, but that is wrong. And for you even
it's
using
your
words,
option.
So basically, what you're saying that you're on the platform with me and you're using words like silly and whatever. But you read it.
Yes,
and
I read
the same way. Yeah,
it.
but you see, the same way you are here saying that the president should process. He should process the things that he says. You should have processed that before you read it out.
I'm reading
no,
it
but that is the point. And I'm saying that it's a bit, as far as I'm concerned,
I would agree with Eric and say that we shouldn't use words like silly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think I might have missed it because I was reading the next topic.
Right, and then using words like vindictive and all of this. And that's what I'm saying, that I can use those words. I mean,
let's move on to our second topic.
Certain individuals, I can use words more
on the show today.
Acerbic words like that.
But Mr. Jantwa, you'd agree that you shouldn't use words like silly when you're describing the president. All right.
Okay. On behalf of Sampial, who is a member of my party, I apologize and unreservedly ask that be withdrawn.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maliba.
So you know what he's doing? He's doing his conflict resolution. ADI, what are you doing now?
Well, it's important that when you are wrong, you accept that you are wrong.
He's doing
and then make amends.
Conflict resolution.
And I can respect that.
Okay.
All right.
So, apology accepted.
The second topic we're discussing today is on the senior staff of the public universities of Ghana who have declared that they're going on an indefinite strike because of welfare issues. Every time we hear that educators are going on strike, it's a problem for all of us in the country. And for a time like this, that we're we are in an election year. We're very close to the elections. Is it a concern for you that
is.
the Senior Staff Association has declared an indefinite strike?
It is, and my problem with that as well is that it's almost as if it's a perennial challenge. We can take, I mean, now we have social media, but you can go and take the daily graphic of maybe 1991, 92, 93, 93. You see all of the headlines, right? What I think that there's not enough proactiveness when it comes to dealing with some of these matters, and that
on whose side?
On all sides, right? There are stakeholders. So the state is there. You have the ministry itself. You have the managers of the various universities and all of those things. And it looks as if that when nothing is happening, then everybody goes to sleep until it gets ahead where there's threats of either strikes, or actually the strikes actually happen, and then all of a sudden you find people scurrying around a table to try to resolve the matter. I do not have the details as to the exact welfare.
They say there is a blatant disregard for all their welfare issues.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, that, you know, in most instances when it comes to these conversations, you have the core conversation, which is their basic salaries and emoluments and all of those things, right? And then you have the other auxiliary benefits that they're supposed to get in terms of welfare and all of that. And so we need to be able to situate exactly what it is that we are.
So they're talking about their pensions. They're talking about their conditions of service. Again, about their pensions, their specific concern is that the government has failed to release their Tier 2 pension mandated by the Pensions Act, and as well as the illegal cancellation of overtime allowance. All right, so these are the specific things that they're talking about.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying, that these are things that everybody around the table, the various stakeholders, can deal with before it gets to this point, right? So I would admit that there's a certain government responsibility. But you also want to situate it in the fact that once you're talking about other things like overtime and all of those things, and even pensions, whilst it's their statutory right for them to be able to have access to the Tier 2, right? I feel that work can still continue. You can still go.
But it appears
so
that unless
but that's what I'm saying,
there's a strike,
I have a challenge.
Concerns are not addressed.
Yes, I have a challenge with that approach.
Cycle.
You understand what I'm saying? And maybe based on my corporate governance experience and all that, that there has to be almost like a tried and tested way of making sure that you have a stage gate process to deal with these things, right? And I know for a fact that once they get to the point where they say, oh, we are downing our tools, then all of a sudden everybody comes around the table and tries to fix the challenge.
It shouldn't be like that.
So I feel that in the bigger picture, the most important elements in this thing are the students and the education that they are supposed to get. So I feel that we can still go back to work and up the ante when it comes to the negotiation, so that these kids are not untowardly impacted.
So you think that the senior staff should return to work? And
we can.
While they're at work.
But see, there's also a legal regime. I think that the two lawyers here would actually help in that regard, where even when it comes to the whole labor law conversation, in terms of even negotiating, you can't be negotiating when you're on strike.
Okay.
I don't know, is that true? Is that not the case? Mr. Jantua?
What are you saying about?
Is that not the case? I mean, can you be on strike and negotiate? I think that they have something to do with the labor law and then fair wages and all sorts of things.
Can you be on strike while you negotiate?
You negotiate.
What?
I think that there's a provision, like, I'm not too sure, but I feel that we can.
But would you call this a negotiation? They are basically asking for what's due them. So they are not negotiating for anything new or different. They're asking for what's due them.
I agree.
To be paid them.
But the point is that, so
in this one, negotiation has actually broken down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That those are legitimate requests. You understand what I'm saying? But then, they, as senior staff, they also have a responsibility to the students and the community, the university communities that they superintend over. And I'm saying that, is it a case that we can find some kind of amicable arrangement now, whilst we are negotiating to make sure that it doesn't affect even the calendar. And in every time, for every cycle, what tends to happen is that they'll be on strike for a couple of weeks or whatever, then they go back to school. And then the things that are being asked for or clamored for are resolved, then it becomes a deterrent or to the detriment of the students. So I feel that, I mean, I'm not suggesting in any way that they don't have legitimate concerns, but I feel that we can negotiate better.
But they should not be on strike because it's okay.
Yes,
all right. Lawyer Kwame Jantua.
Well, you know, on my way here, I was listening to the news.
Okay.
And I heard one of the teachers' representatives say, and when you look at the statement they put out, and you look at the last bit, it says, and I quote, "Then lastly, we are calling on the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC, to withdraw the letter dated 7th November and 20th November, respectively." I don't know the content of that letter, but they're saying if they are able to withdraw those letters, they would go back. But you know, the other thing that also baffles me, they go on to say, in addition to what you read now, they said, "We are also again asking the government to do a recalculation on the accrued interest between the years 2010 and 2016, as we all agreed on July 25th, 2022. If they've agreed on it, why hasn't that recalculation been done? What is stopping the Ministry of Finance, Fair Wages Commission, to actually sit with them and agree the terms of the agreement? Yes, you might not be able to pay now because of the situation we find ourselves in the economy, but you can come to some agreement with them and say, look, we've agreed to this. However, ABCDE, we don't have the wherewithal to pay now. So we can guarantee that within this duration of time, we can pay. Or we can also decide that we will pay in installments so that at least it doesn't put too much pressure on the economy. It's a question of discussion. This is unwarranted. We should, where the system is today, where the economy is today, we shouldn't get people to say we are going on strike because of ABCDE, especially when they see that you are not tightening your belt. You seem still to be living large, and we are actually suffering. We have to get to a point where we can both agree on terms, and the agreements that we give, we stick to it, because really it's unnecessary
At this point?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Maliba, you have the final word on this.
You cannot continue to rule a country with deception. You've heard him read that there was an agreement.
Yes.
So does it mean that this government will simply say that let's agree on something so that you can go back to work? And when you agree, then they go back and sleep? Is that what the government does? Is that how the government thinks that it wants to run the labor front? You see, there was this issue of the workers talking about their pensions. Yeah. And Eric said that, oh, this is something that doesn't need a strike. No. You say they can go to work. They can continue going to work. And look,
he said it's more prudence for them to stay working so that it doesn't affect the students.
And he's saying this because he's never worked in the public sector. If you've worked in the public sector, every worker, after having worked for like 30 years, is looking forward to his pension. Now, this worker who is looking forward to his pension, if he sees that the pension, through government's conduct, is being dissipated, he will go on strike. Because when he goes on pension, that's what he's going to be relying on. But you will notice that the Tier 2 is not managed by a Senate. The Tier 2 is managed by a Board of Trustees. And so, if that money is not handed over to the Board of Trustees to invest it in funds, their pension would reduce. So that's why they are saying that you have collected this money, government. Why don't you hand over the money to the trustees? This is because that is what they will be relying on when they go on pension. And when you are 60 and you are going on pension, that is when you begin to know the realities. It will dawn on you that your pension, if it's been dissipated, would affect you. 2, they talk about cancellation of their allowances for weekends and holidays. If people have worked during the holidays and they have worked during weekends, why won't you compensate them for it?
Because it's part of their conditions of service.
Yes, why won't you? But you see, these workers will not go on strike for the sake of it. They are looking at the lifestyles of the government appointees. Government appointees have so much money in their houses that now thieves target them to go and take some of it. True or false? It's been happening. They have so much. They have collected the money with their hands, their legs, their stomach, and now thieves are the ones who are going for it. These workers are watching. They are seeing. You are doing that, and then you are cutting people's allowances. How much are these allowances? Sometimes when you go 40 Ghana cedis added. So, Labour is wise. Labour sees the lifestyle, opulent lifestyle of the government appointees, and we say that no, let me down my tools. This strike is coming at a time when universities have just reopened. And these are 2 unions, not just one. You are making it look like one. Universities, staff association, and then there's one called federal senior staff.
The Federation of University Senior Staff.
Yes.
The Federation of University Senior Staff. Yeah.
It means that the whole administrative level has been grounded. People are going to be registering. People are looking for accommodation on campuses. So I think government should wise up. This government should wise up. And I'm calling on the union leaders, not to chicken out. Not to chicken out.
They shouldn't go back to the class.
They shouldn't go until their demands are met. Because this government, the way monies meant for projects are found in their rooms.
Money's meant for projects.
Oh, yes.
We don't know that.
You don't know. So the 1 million in the sanitation minister's house, could one person
the matter is in court, isn't
have that type of money?
The matter is in court.
So please, who is their leader? I'm talking to him. He shouldn't sell out. He should stay on the course and ensure that their members receive what they are entitled. Because the government too receive what they are entitled. And they have it so much. Now, thieves are breaking and taking some of it.
What about the students and, the people who would suffer for the strike? Because while it's a government...
The calendar will be rearranged. We all suffer it. The calendar.
Who's we all?
Me, 1 year strike. Me.
In which year?
Me, I don't put years in my...
Under Rollins.
What Rollins? So they will rearrange the calendar.
97.
They will rearrange the calendar. Don't worry. Parents also... But that's their parents. The students, that's their parents.
Because eventually, the children suffer.
I'm saying that they are their parents. So it will affect the children, even in payment of the school fees and what they will eat at home. It's symbiotic.
I see.
That's 96, 97.
It was 96.
So if we know it would affect the children,
1 year,
then we should all do the right thing. We should all do the right thing.
Exactly.
Government should do its bit. Teachers should do their bit so that we don't affect the children.
Exactly.
But if it's, lopsided, it becomes difficult.
How can government officials live in opulence and then labor is in dire straits? How?
Eric, why are you looking at me like that? Is there something you want to say?
Now they are sharing the money with thieves.
Well, I mean...
Sorry?
They are now sharing the money with thieves, and the hard-working labor front is in dire straits. Why? Every day at one minister's house has been stolen, broken into. Why?
So someone is robbed, and you say they are sharing the money.
Why is it only government officials who have found the spate of robbery in government officials' houses?
Because we hear about those.
I'm saying that hasn't it increased under this administration?
Oh, that's what you're saying.
Hasn't it increased under this administration?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Maliba.
When I speak, they'll say that I'm doing silly equalization, so I'll keep quiet.
He has apologized for that comment.
No, yeah.
All right.
But do you remember the Obed Asamoah story?
I'm saying that it has increased.
Eric Amwatu is
increased.
from the NPP National Communications
It has
team.
increased under this administration.
Also, we say thank you to lawyer Kwame Janto, a member of the Convention People's Party.
Now even
and Abraham
what's the
Amaleba,
name?
Director Conflict Resolution.
Presidential staffers are also
doing
You're
conflict
watching
resolution.
TV3 in
You
the
have to
UK,
calm down.
and this has been a big issue.
When did the
And
Mozambican...
if you have not
today.
dialed star
Is it
439 hash,
today?
you want to do
No,
so
when are we
now
playing?
and win 1,000 Ghana cedis on MTN and on Vodafone. Stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to be talking sports. Will the Black Stars do us proud in their match against Mozambique on Monday? What do the sports pundits have to say? Stay tuned. We'll be right back.